Hi, this is Joseph Williams, son of John Williams, and you are watching the Nerfherder Council.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Nerfherder Council. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, for both the Virtual Cantina Network and the Nerfherder Council. We are live at those 4 locations every other Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you are watching on YouTube, please do not forget to click that like button, click that subscribe button, and smash that notification bell so that you are notified every time we go live. We are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. You can get customizable Nerfherder Council swag, which we are going to get into in a minute here. We've got a very popular item coming up. But anyway, you can get your customizable Nerfherder Council swag at shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. And if you would like to get your own Virtual Cantina Network swag, just go to tpublic.com/user/virtual-cantina. Without further ado, let me bring on my esteemed co-host. He is the Donner to my Blitzen. He is, of course, AJ. What's up, man? How's it going?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Not
Great to talk to you, man.
Great to talk to you. I'm very much looking forward to this episode. I had never seen the movie that we're going to talk about. So that's awesome. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. But we also have a chance to bring on a very good friend of ours who is good for a great episode. So before we get to that, we have to address something from the previous show. As you all are aware, if you watched our previous episode, we figured out the names of Chewbacca's extra children that you did not see in the Star Wars Holiday Special. Of course, we are talking about Chewbacca's family, which is Chewbacca, Mala, Itchy, Lumpy, and the ones you don't know about, Rashy, Discharge, and Crappy. Which that also reminds me, the views of the Nerfherder Council don't necessarily represent those of the Virtual Cantina Network, and there might be some bad language coming up. So,
yeah, in case you didn't know, Chewbacca fucks.
There's some bad language. Well, on the last episode, we told everybody that we were going to create a shirt for Chewbacca's family, and damn it, we are nothing if not keepers of promises. AJ, this is live thanks to you. You can now get your very own Nerfherder Council Chewbacca's family t-shirt. So this is fantastic, man. Oh my God. Oh, so just go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com and you can get your very own Chewy, Mala, Itchy, Lumpy, Rashy, Discharge, and Crappy t-shirts. I am so buying the shit out of my own shirt, dude. Oh my gosh, it's my show and I'm buying my own shirt.
If you haven't noticed, it's on sale right now. Every time a shirt goes up, you get it on sale. So it is now the low price of $16 plus shipping and handling. So
that is fantastic.
Get it now.
So do not take that off the screen, because as more people jump into the chat and whatnot, we have to make sure people know about this. So without further ado, let's bring on our special guest co-host. He is the host of Discography Discussion, and for tonight's purposes, he is the host of an awesome horror-themed podcast called Fright Lab. He is our very good friend, Joseph Wren, Discuss Metal Joe. What's going on, man? How are you? Good to see you.
John, maybe I wasn't clear when I said we needed to talk about something scary. We needed to talk about something horrifying to celebrate the holiday. And then you send me Violent Night and say, Joe, this is the movie. This is going to be the episode. It's all going to break wide open. Everybody's going to become successful. And what I got was not terrifying.
I didn't say it was going to be terrifying. You're putting words in my mouth.
What I got was Santa Claus the movie doing a Die Hard with John Leguizamo as the bad guy. I loved it.
Right? And you got Beverly D'Angelo as a total bitch.
She had some of the best lines. Oh my
You
God.
had moments in this movie, spoilers, that are better than any of the Home Alone sequels.
Well, it's better than Home Alone too, because that movie is so ungodly overrated.
I mean, it's a thing, right? If what you want is the actual Santa Claus getting a pretty brutal backstory, almost like God of War with Kratos, like, no, this guy was bad, and guess what? Now he gives toys to kids.
Yeah.
Has his bad Santa moments too. I mean, I really enjoyed this movie. I'm ashamed to say, if there is a Christmas tradition, it deserves a modifier, especially after the kids go to bed. If this is not on your list of pour eggnog, drink every time X happens, it needs a drinking game. That's how awesome this movie is. I really had fun with this one.
Well, the movie that we are discussing, of course, is Violent Night. It came out last year in 2022. Yeah, I mean, why don't we just jump into this? So you liked it. I enjoyed it. I actually watched it 2 nights ago, and then I rewatched it today at the end of my shift. While I was working, I kind of put it on my tablet while I was doing some, finishing up stuff because I'm off work for the next 12 days. Hallelujah. And it's like a goofy, entertaining, just crazy idea that actually has a little bit of heart, to it. So what is
a really good, whatever you want to call it, brutal holiday film. I mean, did I need Santa Claus demolishing people? No. But now that I have it, I really had fun with it.
AJ, what did you think about it?
I thought it was friggin' fantastic. This movie was fun from start to finish. It was hilarious. I told you. So behind the scenes, guys, I watched this movie last night. JT called me as I was only like 35 minutes into the movie. Nothing horror or gory had happened yet. It was all comedy. I could have done a whole movie of that. And then when everything starts breaking loose, I was like, I could do a whole movie of this too. So
not the same thing.
Like either way it went, it was a home run. Yeah.
Yeah,
I wouldn't call it a sleeper hit because I think it was pretty popular when it came out, but I still don't think it got its props.
Did you know in the first 5 minutes that you were going to have a good time? Because when it started off, I thought this was Bad Santa 3, right? Like a mall Santa's off work and he's getting a beer and he's just, I'm going to be the hero that murders everybody. No, we're going to actually make him Santa Claus.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually I had that in my notes as I was watching. I was like, better pre-title puke.
I smile in general when I talk about these things. Generally, when I'm on camera, I smile too much, but I'm really excited that I got to watch this movie. Blu-rays have been ordered. Notice I said Blu-rays.
Nice. Yeah, dude, I had read reviews of it last year, so I knew what I was getting into. But the reviews were generally not great. I think that's because I think people just take it too seriously, which is not anything that should be that surprising, because I think you get that a lot with movie reviewers. Like I tend to take reviews with a grain of salt. And this one, I was like, well, when I saw what the concept was, I was like, well, what the hell are you expecting here? Like, it's Santa Claus, killing bad guys. Like, it's not, friggin' Citizen Kane or something. It's not Miracle on 34th Street. Like, so I went into this. Oddly enough, I didn't watch it last year, and I love gory stuff. So, I went into it knowing what the reviews were. I'm like, I just want to see Santa kicking ass, and I thought that whatever the hell the actor's name is, the guy from Stranger Things, I thought he did an awesome Santa Claus, man. It was the portrayal of Santa Claus in this, first and foremost, was awesome. The bag of presents where it's like you just reach in and it's like the magic bag where you just put your hand in there and out comes a present. That was really cool to explain Santa Claus. How does he get down the chimney? He turns into this orange fire dust and goes down, no big deal. And we'll get to that later because it turns into one of the best movie scenes I think I've ever seen.
Might have been the best line, or at least the most laugh out loud moment I had. Spoilers if you haven't seen this movie, but the bag meets an untimely end at some point, and just, no, Those are kids' dreams.
Yeah, he just burned up kids' dreams. Well, I mean, and later on, you know, with the whole doing the fireplace and stuff. I mean, it was like at the end of the movie, like you find yourself like, okay, you're rooting for Santa Claus. You got like a Christmassy feeling, but then throughout the journey, it's like, okay, like you said, Joe, it's like a bad Santa type of thing and all that. But Santa had some great lines, you know, and one of the things that I loved was it did have a holiday feeling. It didn't. I thought they were going to make like, did you guys think they were going to make Santa like superhuman? Like he was just like Thanos around everybody? Because that's what I thought, and that was not the case. That was not the case.
I didn't think they would go that direction, but I thought it was interesting to amplify the magic that Santa Claus is supposed to have. You know, it's every question you've ever had or every story you've ever been told. Well, how does Santa get down the chimney? How does he get into my house if I don't have a chimney? Unfortunately, that's a thing for some people. Then you have, I don't have a chimney. How's he going to get in? The doors are barred. Everything's secure around here. But it's all the Santa stories. Every movie you've ever seen about Santa Claus, this movie is not afraid to say, yep, and. So it takes this Santa Claus origin story that and just makes it go even further backwards. It turns him into some type of, I don't want to say Viking, but some type of medieval warrior that slaughtered people.
Yep.
And it doesn't totally explain why now you got to fly around giving the kids toys. And he's clearly been having a bad day.
Yes.
Clearly some bad things have been going on, which we'll talk about a potential sequel later that might be happening. There's some fan casting, some wish list casting that I think would be great if they decided to do this again. Because what's the follow-up? The follow-up is, I'm Santa, ho, ho, ho. Oh, no. All right, let's get the hammer. Let's go do some more.
Well, I mean, can we just, like, what his name was Nicomund when he was like a warrior.
I've been called many names.
Yeah, they didn't even try to like mask how cheesy it is. Like what's the hammer's name? Skull Crusher.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Really?
There wasn't even any subtlety to it. It's like, my hammer's Skull Crusher. Like, that was awesome.
Feel like that line from Robin Hood.
Like all family friendly, like too. Like the little girl's like, "Oh, Skull Crusher."
Yeah,
It's a good name.
All right, AJ. So start us off here. Like, generally, like impressions of the movie as a whole, because it was entertaining and stuff. But there is a lot of cheese here, and I thought that for me, it took a bit to get into being likable, because as you meet. Yeah, because I think it's one of those movies like you don't want like the lead characters to survive. You know, we when we talked about Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake, like just kill those two assholes. Like this was like that. Like the family, like just die. And I thought it took a minute to get into the part where So what were your impressions of that?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. In fact, I was trying to play the game of who dies first. Obviously,
right.
the nameless characters are going to be getting off, but you're like, there's no way the whole family is surviving. Someone is going to get killed first. And I was going on the reverse principle of like the least deserving gets killed first, and also the stereotype that Scream calls out and everything else. Like if there's a person of color, they're gone first.
Yeah,
like every time. And I was like, oh well, the nicest person is obviously the mother. So she's gonna get hers, and it's gonna be like the crappy dad, the estranged dad who's got to like save the day and save the little girl. And no, I think they swerved everybody on that one, because the trope is like somebody's got to die, and the truth is nobody died. I was surprised. Like they started introducing all these like shitty people. I'm like, okay, all these people deserve to die for one reason or another. I get that. So who gets it first? And the answer is nobody.
They shot the boyfriend, right?
Yeah, I mean, but it took a while. I mean, it took a while.
Right.
Oh, that's right. They did kill the actor guy.
Yeah.
It was a very Knives Out feeling. I don't know if you've seen that movie recently, or even the follow-up Glass Onion, which were both amazing films. Great dialogue-driven.
Knives Out, I wrote a song about it. It goes like this. Overrated.
Where's the
All right,
button
continue.
that John hits when he wants to get rid of AJ for a minute?
Oh, please.
Right? Like no love for Ryan Johnson, huh?
Dude, no, okay. 2-second sidebar and then continue your point, Joe, because we're not going to get into that movie. Dude, you could tell that Chris Evans was the guy who was the problem. It wasn't even masked. It was like, okay, so my wife and I are watching it going, okay, well, he's the bad guy. Sure shit, he's the bad guy. I'm like, why is everyone talking about this twist ending and it's so weird? And I like, no, he's the guy. You knew like as soon as you met him. So no, it's not. That's why I have not seen Glass Onion, because I'm like, I don't need to see them fuck it up again. Anyway, so continue.
If you made the prediction, John, props to you. I was willing to find out, and yeah, I agree. You could argue it's obvious, but it doesn't have to be that. But this had that same kind of feel of, well, here's another asshole, and here's another asshole, and here's another asshole, to the point where you really hate the family, and it's easy for them to say they're all going to get their comeuppance by the end, but they don't. They make it through, and they come together. And it's another one of those Santa tropes where at the very end, oh, the family's going to come together. Miracle on 34th Street. You've seen this movie.
Right.
This movie might be the most recent epic example of, I need a trope from every holiday film that's ever been made. How do we fit all of this into a movie? Well, maybe we put a Die Hard idea in there. Well, that's not really a Christmas movie. No, people think it is. So who are we going to get to play the bad guy who dies in the end? John Leguizamo? Yes! Yeah. Bring it on! Everything about this movie is entertaining. I wonder if they made it for the adults. For people that have been seeing the same holiday films. It's a tradition now for half a century or longer with some of these films. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but can we make something that'll just shake it up a little bit without forcing us to make up anything new? You could pick out all of your favorite tropes while you're watching this movie, and they're all going to happen, and they're all going to be turned up a little bit, and they're all going to be left turned a little bit by the end. And yes, it's going to end the way you want it to, because halfway through this movie, or maybe a third of the way through this movie, you want it to resolve and everything to be okay. Did I want Santa Claus to go on a rampage with a hammer? No, but I thought what I was going to get was Santa's had enough and now the family's got to defeat Santa. I didn't look at the trailer for this movie. I wanted to just watch it. I wanted to get I went to the theater and I have $10 and look at that. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to get a beer and I'm going to watch it. And what I got was exactly the opposite. Maybe that's what really did it for me, was I had no prep. Just violent night. This looks like shit. It's not. It kind of is, but it's the kind of shit I like with 2 beers and a really good steak.
Nice. And by the way, we have to stop saying Santa with a hammer. It's a goddamn 40-pound sledgehammer, okay? Like we need to be clear.
I'm sorry,
on
what was
this.
the second word there, John?
Goddamn. So yeah, like I mean, it's Santa with a 40-pound sledge. Like I mean, seriously,
more mace-like. I see where you're going with that. It's more of a Santa wielding a mace.
Well, I mean, to me, like the movie was already getting really good. It was like interesting and everything. The booby traps thing. We'll go through this. Like AJ, you're really good at bringing up points like that. But I mean, AJ, I don't know about you. When he's in that shed and he's like, I just want to see Mrs. Claus again, and his wedding ring, he drops it and it rolls and it ends up hitting the hammer, the sledgehammer. I was like, oh, fucking here we go, dude.
Oh yeah.
Like,
again, a subplot about Santa's just not having a good day. And even when he's talking to the little girl, like, no, it's been a long time. Adults have problems sometimes. Sometimes it's not easy when you're a grown up. And it's the most Santa response. He hadn't fully redeemed and done the Santa spirit, the always great. That happens later on because it's a crescendo, right? It's good storytelling. But at that point, he's just bearing his heart. Like, you get the impression that Mrs. Claus either walked out or told him to get out. Like, I don't know what happened yet. Again, there's some fan casting going on here for a sequel where, well, can we get Mrs. Claus in the movie? And can Charlize Theron play it? And I'm like, I would watch that. That would be interesting.
Wow. Okay.
Right?
Oh, I need that. I need that in my life for sure. I forget what the name of the movie was. It was a Netflix movie, Christmas movie starring Kurt Russell in the first one.
Oh,
and
isn't he in the second one too?
He's in the second one too, but he brings along Goldie Hawn as Mrs. Claus. So he plays Santa Claus in the first one, and in the second one, Mrs. Claus comes in as Goldie Hawn, and they're married in real life. And he drives like a red Dodge Charger or something like that, or a Dodge Challenger. It's like badass Santa, basically.
Christmas
and that's what
Chronicles,
I feel like here.
Yeah.
Is like Christmas Chronicles. Yes,
Yeah.
love those. I feel like this is ripe for a sequel for exactly that reason. Bring in Mrs. Claus. I want to see Mrs. Claus with like a sickle. Like she cuts the shit out of people after, like Santa's busy like skull crushing people.
Yes. It's so awesome, man.
I'm 100% okay with this. Whatever it is.
All right, so I'll ask a couple
Rudolph
questions.
has a laser nose. Like, burn him, Rudolph.
Everybody says armed to the teeth.
Well, dude, look, if they could do it in those horrible Fast and Furious movies, which started out as like drifting movies and ended up with like, where they're at now with like 10 of them, and it's just like the most outlandish shit ever. Why can't you do it with something like this, which started out outlandish? I mean,
okay, yeah, that was one of the other points I was going to bring up is like, they knew what movie they were making. Like everybody involved, they weren't trying to win an Oscar here. They were like, let's make a cheesy friggin' movie. And it comes out awesome for it.
Yeah. I mean, did it take anything away for you guys? I'll start with you, AJ. Like, did it take anything away that the family, they were supposed to be, I guess, the protagonists, like alongside Santa, like were so unlikable. That was the only, like, that's why I think at the beginning for me, I was like, well, I'm not rooting for these people. Like, did that affect like your enjoyment of it? Like, were you rooting for them all to die and just have like Santa and the little girl like be the sole survivors or whatever?
At first it did, but once they got their chance to go on the offensive, you hated the bad guys so much at that point. You're like, yeah, I want to see these, especially because by that time you see enough people die. You're like, blood's going to explode out of people's bodies like water balloons, and I'm here for it. So I don't care who wins this fight. I just know that I'm going to have a good time. So,
right.
Yeah, by the time they got to get their licks in, I was like, oh, this is hilarious because they're terrible people and they have no fighting skills, but they're going to win. You just know it.
Joe, what about you, man?
I didn't want the family to die, but they subverted my expectations enough that I expected something like that to happen. Every opportunity they have to say this family's absolute trash and you're going to die, up to the point where their quote kill squad shows up.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were going to that was the end of the movie, but they got me going enough where that 180 even set me up for, we're just digging the hole as deep as we can for the family. Yes, I wanted them to get some comeuppance for things they supposedly did that you don't have a kill squad and be a good person, right?
Right.
Like, I wanted I wanted the family to lose, but by the end, I was reminded that killing is bad, so nobody should be dying for anything, any of this. Like, I'm waiting for the cops to show up and take somebody to jail. That makes sense in this movie, but I think they just tried to move the target. I think that's one of the reasons why this is so entertaining. They keep moving the target of the bad guy. You don't know John Leguizamo is the bad guy until about a third or a halfway through the movie when it becomes about robbing the family. Because you think what he's there for is to steal the son. Like, you don't know, you have the idea, but you don't know the son is trying to steal the money. You think he's just trying to get away with his wife. And then you think, well, okay, so is John Leguizamo and his crew here to rob the house and take all the money, and then he can run away with the money and John's working for him? Oh, no. Just keep turning left. Every opportunity to lock in on what is it, turn left. Even when Santa goes brutal in the beginning and then has to run back in the room like a little child because, oh, they saw me. It's a giant build to the point. An epic fire-laden landscape battle between Santa Claus and the bad guy who hates Santa Claus should not be earned by the time this movie's over.
Yeah.
And the crescendos, they worked. Everything about this was fun. Everything about this was fun. So, no, at the end, I didn't want anybody to die. It felt like wrestling to me. You know, somebody gets choked out, right? The Undertaker's in the grave. He's buried alive. I don't care. I bought in so much. It didn't matter if you killed anybody.
Right. Yeah, I think for me, like it, this sounds really stupid in a movie like this, but the family was so like character-wise what was paper thin. And I was like, oh man, this is even for the cheese factor, it was like, okay. But then as it kept going, I was like, all right, like I'm into this. And I think it was, again, the presentation of the Santa, like the acting was great. It was like you said, Joe, like it's that bad Santa type of a vibe. But then he did kind of do the hero thing, and you know, it was entertaining, and I was hoping for the family to die. I wanted to see him get smoked. It was great that the dickhead actor guy got smoked. It was very can we just say it? Like it was a little bit of Die Hard 2 there with the kill squad being dressed exactly as the army in Die Hard 2, and then they turn out to be like on the side of the bad guys. Like
so many times during this movie, I was screaming out loud, just quoting Rick and Morty, Die Hard, Die Hard, Die Hard. Like right. we're getting away with ripping it off, and I don't care. I should care. I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was going to point that out, actually. I noticed as the movie wore on, I was like, wait a minute, this feels like Die Hard. And then the attic scene, I'm like, wait, this is Home Alone. Like, I think they just seriously just made a list of all the movies that they wanted to call out and do, like, in this style instead. And I, for one, was here for all of it, like, especially the Home Alone stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The girl is setting all those traps. I'm like, oh, yes, let's do this.
And it wasn't
right.
one, it wasn't two, it was... Wait a minute, are they trying to pitch me on a Home Alone sequel with this little girl? Like an hour and a half of this?
Right? Our
buddy,
even
put... Go ahead.
Sorry, our buddy Jeff Caffrey.
Candy cane.
Jeff Caffrey, like, I'm about to get there. Like, Jeff Caffrey, awesome to see you as always, man. He says, now I have a candy cane. By the way, Jeff, the one thing I'm not wearing right now, I'm actually wearing a Pantera t-shirt with a Santa hat, but I have upstairs the Die Hard sweatshirt, the gray one that just says, now I have a machine gun, ho, ho, ho. I'm playing a gig on Saturday night, and it's an ugly Christmas sweater party. So my ugly Christmas sweater is that with my Santa hat. So I'm like the dead guy from the first kill in Die Hard. Anyway, sorry, go ahead, Joe. I had to get Jeff up there. So
it's fine. Jeff is the man. I'm a fan of all guys named Jeff. I don't have my soundboard loaded up, but you know I could hit some buttons and it would totally make sense. What was your biggest pop in this movie? What was the top moment where yes? AJ, I'm starting with you.
Oh man, you put me on the spot. I was hoping I was gonna have time to think of something.
I can take it, AJ, because I think I have 3.
Okay, well, I did call out one of the deaths, and it was one of the first ones. It's gonna be the start of the eye.
Oh yes, actually,
yes. Oh my! Please tell me there's a picture of that we can pull up. Like,
dude,
it wasn't just that it happened.
I'll get scrubbing through the rental.
It was that
let me get on
he started kind of lurching forward, like, I'm not dead yet. It's just a flesh wound.
Did we all like go? Because I was watching it with my wife, Steph, and we were like, oh my God, like, and I went, oh, he's gonna plug it in. He's gonna plug it in. Did you guys do it too? I was like, he's gonna plug it in.
I didn't see the cord, but as soon as he did it, I'm like, yes.
I knew it. I was like, there's no other way they're gonna kill him because he's getting too close. Santa's not like doing anything. It's like he's gonna plug it in, and not only does he plug it in and electrocute the guy, but then his head catches on fire.
That was the best. Yes, the head caught fire and just kept smoldering.
Yes. I was like, this movie rules, man.
It should not have been the moment I thought of the movie Green Mile, but I did.
Oh,
just
you're not wrong. You're not
burst
wrong.
into laughter like this isn't supposed to be funny, but it really is. Like I'm waiting for something else to happen. Like then he throws up. Just
yeah, that was definitely the bad death of Edouard Delacroix from the Green Mile.
Ooh, he's paid what he owed.
Yes.
He's even with the house again.
I love it, dude.
You just got banned from YouTube.
No, see, AJ,
I didn't play the video. I just displayed the image.
AJ, this is for our audio viewers.
Yes,
we have the picture on screen of the dude with the star in his eye, which is awesome. I actually had three big moments. Obviously, the star we just talked about was one of them, but there were other two that were equal. I'll start, and if I had to rank them, I would say the star is number one. There's two number ones. I'm going to say 1A and 1B. They're tied. I will go with number two in that scenario, which is when John Leguizamo gets it in the chimney because he's kicking Santa's ass at the end, and then he's right by the chimney, and he does the little nose thing and goes up the chimney. But John Leguizamo, like, because he can't do it like Santa, gets dragged up the chimney, so Santa ends up standing on top of the chimney with basically only John Leguizamo's torso, because he just ripped him through the goddamn chimney. And
he had basically a duffel bag of John Leguizamo. Yeah.
Yes, and which is another thing. And then I'll get to my number 1A or B, whatever you want to call it. Dude, when Santa got some awesome kills, I think it might have been my favorite part of the movie. When he shoved the grenade down the dude's pants. Like tried to shut and runs away. And it was like special delivery, and he's walking away, and you see the guy behind him in the distance, like struggling with his pants, like trying to like get the grenade out. And
it went on forever.
And he's facing the camera, and he's
like, did he forget to pull the pin? What's going on, Pop?
Well, we know he pulled the pin, but he's facing the camera, and he goes, "Well, I gotta watch." And he turns around, the guy blows up. I was like, yes. And then the John Leguizamo death, he's standing on top of the chimney. He goes, oh, holy shit. Like, basically, they gave
when you
Santa...
got the actual Santa Lab, it was, ho, ho, ho.
Yes, exactly. Yes. That was my favorite line of the movie.
Yes.
Like, whenever he left, he did the ho, ho, ho. But like, Santa had reactions to his kills like we would have, like, off screen. Like, holy shit. Like, it was great. But yeah, the third one for me, the booby trap with the nail on the stair was,
and it just kept escalating.
No, not the escalation, just the fact that the little girl had set up booby traps. She was in the attic, and she the ladder's there, and there's a giant ass nail, like a 6-inch nail, sticking out of one of the rungs of the ladder, and he looks up and he goes, "Hey, little girl, I don't know if you know this or not, but booby traps only work if you hide them." And as he goes to start going up the ladder, they show one of the rungs and it's cut so that, it's going to break when he steps on it. So as he goes up, the step breaks and it goes right in here. It goes in through the bottom, like below his chin and up through his mouth. And he's like, oh, and he's stuck there. And then the other bad guy goes trundling over him to get up there. And she's like, whoa, and he's like, whoa. And it shows like in his mouth, like this
he keeps moving and the nail stays in place. Yeah.
Yes.
Somebody was booking fan fiction of things that Macaulay Culkin never did in Home Alone or Home Alone 2.
Dude.
Glue everywhere.
Ripping the scalp out. Yeah.
And the feet get stuck. Then she falls backwards. Then she powers out of it and her hair's missing. I'm going to get you. And yeah.
Yep.
I was surprised how long that went on. That scene by itself, the fact that they kept going, and you knew it was a Home Alone thing because they mentioned it. She's seen Home Alone. Now all she wants to do is booby trap and get everybody. No, this is still going on. Like somebody cared to let that happen and have the right timing and not cut away from it to Santa with a hammer going, oh, they're still coming to get me. Nope, we're just gonna do 3, 4, 5 minutes with these two bad guys trying to get that little girl, and she still won. I had so much fun with this movie. See, my top kill was, since you took the rest of the good ones, I'm gonna give a props. I'm gonna give a mention to Santa getting his groove. He's starting to knock people's heads off and bust people's knees out. And he takes the candy cane, puts it in his mouth. He's getting his power-ups from that. Literally, I think that's like Santa getting a power-up, because peppermint, right? Pulls it out because he's been working it over. All of a sudden, it's got a point and just sticks the guy right in the eye. Like, oh, it's fine.
We've all felt that. We've all felt that, because I don't know about you guys. Do you remember those giant like candy cane sticks you used to get? They were like an inch in diameter.
Old school, yes.
And yeah, if you were just like work on that thing for a while, even a regular candy cane, if you don't do it right and break the tip off every so often, you end up with a spear. Like I have poked my cheek with it, or my tongue, and I'm like, and I guarantee if you just work on one of those peppermint sticks long enough, what you have is a steak that could kill Count Dracula.
Yes.
And yeah, so like to use a candy cane as a weapon,
minty.
like, they already are. He didn't have to invent that shit at all. It's there for the taking.
Well, and how about AJ? We'll get to the next point in a second. You bring it up here. We're talking about kills, but we'll finish with the candy cane. How great was it that it didn't break? It's a fucking candy cane, but he uses it like 17 different times. Like he shoves it in the one guy's cheek, then he's stabbing people in the leg. Like that damn candy cane never broke. And it was, and I'm like, quick question before we get on to my next question, which I want you to start with, AJ. But
how many questions, John? Come on.
When he was in the house to begin with, and he grabbed the candy cane and put it in his pocket, were you? Because I read the reviews, so maybe it was singular to me. But were you guys like, oh my God, that candy cane is gonna get used as a weapon? Like,
yeah, that in movie terms is what is known as Chekhov's candy cane.
Okay. Nice.
That didn't happen for me. I thought every time in the beginning, right? Because it's a bad Santa movie at that point, right? So he's grabbing the cookies, and then he grabs the bottle of whiskey, and then he grabs the candy cane. I thought this was just setting up Santa likes treats, because they'd already sold me. Really? They'd already sold me that this was really Santa, though, with the sleigh and the reindeer, and he's just, I just like cookies. But later on, it's like the treats give him power. Like that's part of his curse or his magic.
Early on in the movie, he makes a stop, and he like straight up like he hates the cookie, and then he drinks the milk and he spits it out. Like I think he's just still like nauseous and hungover from the beer and everything. But yeah, like I thought that like Bad Santa, except like he hates all the crap. He hates all of it. Because in the beginning, he like takes a bite and takes a little sip of milk. He's like he doesn't want any of it, but he's trying to do the Santa thing. Right. So I thought that he hated all of it. I didn't realize that was like a bad round, or if he was like still sick from the bar.
Well, he did. he did say like in the man, she's like, "Ooh, homemade." Like, and real quick before I get to my question, AJ, can we just all agree? Like, were you like as grossed out as I was? Like, you could just almost picture the flavor when he drinks the milk and he goes, "Oh, skim," and dumps it out, and then he looks back and he sees the bar. He goes, "Oh, the good stuff." And he pulls down that bottle of whatever it was. And he goes, "Oh, it's some pre-war shit." And he pours that pre-war bourbon or whiskey or whatever it is into that glass that had milk still in it. And he chugs. He's like, "Oh, yeah, that's." I'm like, oh. Like, could you imagine drinking that? Like,
now that you say it out loud, I have to think about it. That was not good, dude.
I knew it. All right. So let me get to my question here, because Joe keeps making fun of me. So AJ, I'm gonna start with you. Talk about the quality of the kills. I'm not even gonna ask you, do you like the kills in the movie? I'm gonna ask you, how awesome were the kills in this movie?
Dude, okay, so here's what the kills had going for them. It knew it was not a horror movie. like a horror movie is going to have like the black blood, the super viscous blood.
Yes.
This was like cartoonishly syrupy red blood.
Yes. Yes.
Like, so no matter what the lighting was, you saw this stuff coming out and it was thick. Like, oh my God, that's what was actually going through our veins. Like, we basically have like Mrs. Butterworth's going through our system.
Hey,
like, when the dude gets in the neck, when the dude gets the icicle in the neck and he's like laying sideways and like pulls and just like takes that long to like flow over his face, everything, I'm like, there is no way in hell that's blood. But you know what? It was fun. It looked great. Yeah. So they knew what they were doing. It was just over the top. This was gore personified. It was not horror. This is
it feels very moist. That's a term I've heard used and I've adopted. It just feels wet when you hit someone in the face with a sledgehammer and this thick goo just goes everywhere. Smack. It's Rocky Balboa with the meat in the freezer. Just
So our good friend Mimar, always great to see you. She says that's what happens to your blood when you drink dirty milk cut booze. Mimar, 100% on point. You win the chat tonight. That is 100% on point. Yeah, I think for me, and then I want to get your take overall, Joe. But I mean, for me, the kills were great. Like when I watch movies that are supposed to be gory, or you're supposed to have kills and whatnot, especially ones that I know are supposed to be cheesy. Like I want to see some goofy shit. So killing the dude with a star, and then when I was like, oh, he's gonna plug it in, that was amazing. And not only was it amazing, but then like I said earlier, not only that, but the head catches on fire. Like they doubled down on it. You know what I mean?
I love that.
Like,
yeah.
Like you guys were talking about the blood. Well, the guy that got the nail through the bottom of his chin, he when he fell back, he fell on that board of nails. It was like a total Mick Foley, Terry Funk moment. So like, and he pulls one out of his ass and it just pours thickly out. Like that was great. But yeah, then he, and I mean, dude, that right there is another example. So he, this guy that already had like the nail through his chin, then he's he pulls the nail out of his ass and he holds up the nail and he's looking at it. And of course he holds, all right. You're giving me the hold on, AJ. Okay, go.
The nail in the ass. Can we pause on that for a second?
Yes, we can.
Because you have had some hand gore happen this year.
Yes, and knee gore.
So you know what happens if you get a deep cut in a fatty part of your body.
Yes.
And I've had that too. Like I've got a steak knife wound right here from years and years ago, and I had like fat coming out my hand. My hand meat was falling out, and dude, when he pulled
Just
that
think
thing
about
out,
that for a second,
did you notice
everybody.
It was almost like a zit? It was like,
yes,
dude,
yes.
JT, it was like popping a zit, man. It was creamy. It wasn't the usual like viscous blood we were just talking about. It was like thick.
Yeah.
Like ricotta cheese coming out, which is funny because that guy was in shape as hell. Like there's not a lot of fat that's going to fall out of that ass.
Well,
but
I
like the attention to detail that like, you know what? That's a fatty part of the body. And this thing is going to like, it's going to squirt like popping a zit.
I was going to say, when you mentioned like the blood's like maple syrup, it's like having Mrs. Butterworth in your veins. I'm like, well, as a fat guy, I that's probably how my blood actually is. And it was, and so,
do you get pancakes on Christmas morning?
Wishes do come true, JT. You keep working on that.
I'm making waffles.
Dude. Oh my God. If you knew what I was making for AJ might be able to imbibe this year. My Christmas morning breakfast. I'm going to make some serious shit for the family. So, it involves filet mignon. So anyway,
damn.
So yeah, that guy, when he died, like, he holds the nail up that he pulled out of his ass. And it was so good because it's coming. And it's like because the other bad guy upstairs, she's getting nailed with bowling balls, right? And he holds this thing up and is looking at it like way above his head. And you're like, oh God, how are they going to kill him with this nail? Because it's coming. Yeah. And they pay it off so good. Like the bowling balls are gone, but the bad guy upstairs gets out of the way, and there's one left in her way, and she just kind of like brushes it beside herself, and it goes down the hole and hits the guy in the hand, and he drives the nail straight into the center of his forehead. I was like, oh my God. I mean, there was that one, and dude, like I say, the whole scene with the sledgehammer, the 40-pound sledge we find, and he's just murdering all these guys, like smoking all them with a sledgehammer. The ending kill where he drives the shovel into the dude's neck, and then the body falls, and the head's just sitting there like with blood spraying everywhere. Like, that was awesome. Like you said, there's a icicle death. I mean, the first one, like the dude falls out the window, was gored on a giant icicle, like, and like I said, the John Leguizamo death when he gets pulled up the chimney, like. It's everything you would want from this being so cheesy and gory. It's exactly what you want. Like, and it just got progressively better.
Fun. I'll tell you what, I was wrong on all the deaths. I was wrong on all of them.
Really? Okay.
Everything I tried to predict about this movie, I was wrong about. Like right up to the end scene with the chimney, I was like, okay, that Santa. I mean, they totally showed it with he's backed up to a chimney, so of course the chimney's coming into it. I did not think it was going to be part of the death. I thought it was going to be like he's going to escape because like his hand is pinned over here. He's got the knife in it. He's stuck there, And I thought he'd be like, and up the chimney he goes, jumps out the top, and then like does some huge like off the top rope kind of pro wrestling move, and like splits the guy in half.
Yes,
or like drives the hammer right through him, something. But I did not think he was going to take Leguizamo through the chimney with him.
Yeah.
That was outstanding.
I haven't seen a wrestling match this good on film since Freddy versus Jason. Because that's what I was thinking the whole time. Well, clearly that's going to come into play, but not like, oh, that's how they're going to end this. No, there's a ladder there. Somebody's going to climb it. Somebody's going to jump. Everything's going to pay off in the end. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus. It's going to pay off, but it's going to pay off in a fun way. Fun gore is a thing. This is not Hellraiser, where not the chains with the hooks and the pulling and the stretching and the meh. This is Tucker and Dale versus evil, right?
Yeah.
This is fun. Okay. Yeah, terrible things are happening, or like Zombieland, where this is terrible. But I'm having fun. Like, my popcorn is nearly empty. The beer has been refilled 2 or 3 times. Give me another year. When we revisit this next year, we're going to have a violent night drinking game. I feel like that's a thing that needs to exist.
Anyway, Joe. I mean, come on. You got the Fright Lab podcast. What do you call this? This isn't horror.
This is fun gore, is what this is. This is popcorn gore. This is, it's B-movie after midnight. This is just a popcorn movie. It's about the serious parody of other films you've seen. Like I said earlier, somebody just said throw a Die Hard in there. Okay, throw in Santa Claus the movie. Throw in every trope that's ever existed. Anything that has ever been in the Santa Claus universe, I want it in this movie. Adapt it, do what you got to do, make it fun. This keeps the tradition of the holiday scary movie going, but it's not scary. It's your Lethal Weapon. Yeah, the movie came out in December, but it's not it's not supposed to be holiday, except this one is. So we're innovating. We're creating a new genre of movie. Because what's the next film? I know there's a character, the burglars, right? They all have code names around the holidays. But the whole time I'm watching this thinking, there was that Krampus movie a few years ago. Like, so is the sequel to this Violent Night 2, Krampus Returns? Like, what is this? Let's just keep going with other holiday-themed characters.
Well, they killed Krampus. And I would just like to say that he was my favorite bad guy. Because he was, dude, when he made them open the presents, and he was like, oh, Granny hates it. It was like the most awkward thing. Like, I was like, this is like this movie just like it. I feel like this is going to be one of those movies. Like, I don't know how you guys feel, but like when I watched it the first night, I was like, okay, this is pretty good. All right, I'll take it, whatever it is, what it is. Then when I did my rewatch today, I was like, okay, this is actually, all right, I liked it more. I was like, God damn it, this is going to be another one of those movies of mine where every time I watch it, I catch a little stupid something and it's going to be in my Christmas playlist, like to the point, like my wife liked it, like I said earlier, I was shocked because I was like, as it started and we were getting into it, I was like, she's going to hate this. But she didn't. She like at one point, like I was like getting kind of drowsy and she's like, are you falling asleep at a time of night where she's usually dead asleep? But no, she was wide awake watching this movie. And so, Christmas Eve, we're going to get home from driving 2 hours away in Marysville, Ohio. And my stepkids are going to be here and my stepdaughter's boyfriend. And I'm going to cook us some late night food and we're going to watch fucking Violent Night. I'd be like, you guys got to see this shit. And we're all going to have some drinks, a little bit of spiked eggnog, as it were. And
dude, I want some eggnog. Come on.
We're not actually doing eggnog because that shit's gross. But anyway, yeah, like this is one of those movies I feel like is going to get better and better as you rewatch it because the cheese factor of it is amazing. But I think what makes this movie good, I mean, I love the fun gore, Joe, as you phrased it. But Torres, my good buddy Torres, good to see you. He says, I love your late night food. Yeah, I've grilled for Torres late night a couple times. And yeah, I'm getting to be a grill master, and Torres has definitely, yeah, he's had steak and burgers and stuff. I've hooked Torres up, man. Love you, Torres, man. Merry Christmas, brother. Tell Stephanie Ann I said Merry Christmas as well. Even though I'll probably see you on Saturday.
Does the quality of the late night food go up the more you drink?
No, dude, that's a whole nother episode.
No, the tolerance of the late night food goes up the more you drink.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so we're gonna watch this movie. Like this. I think what makes this movie great is like, you have all the fun gore, like you said, Joe. You've got all this like cheese, but really, I mean, when you get to the end, and there are parts throughout the movie, like there is an emotional part to it, which makes it really good because it is like, okay, well, it is Santa. Because part of you is like, oh, is that how Santa's magic? Is that how Santa got the presents? Like the magic bag. You're like, oh my God. And Santa uses it as a defense mechanism, almost like a bulletproof vest at one point, which is brilliant. But there's that emotional content to it that makes it an actual Christmas movie. Like there is like, okay, I can believe that this is Santa. Like I said earlier, like that he's mortal. He wasn't just Thanos. Like he took bullets and everything. And then, at the end when, he's dead and they bring him back to life by believing in Santa Claus. Like there's an emotional part to this movie that just makes it so good.
That is Santa Claus, the movie.
I'm sorry. What was that, AJ?
I think that might be the Elf callback right there. Like I was trying to identify different parts of the movie that were like, what movie are they doing an homage to? And I just remember the sleigh needing like New York's belief, like moving the Statue of Liberty in Ghostbusters Part 2. And
yes.
and this felt like that, like, oh, Santa's dead. But if we just believe in Santa,
See, that was Santa Claus the
movie. They got the sleigh moving. They fueled the sleigh with belief in Santa in Elf. So maybe that's the callback. I mean, I feel like they had a checklist of movies that they were going to pay homage to.
But I think that makes it good, right, Joe?
100%.
I mean, like, Joe, doesn't that make it good? Like, because it's, when you can see the callback, but it's not so incredibly obvious, but it is there. Like, doesn't that kind of make it enjoyable? Because like, it's a cheesy movie, but you're like, oh God, that's from Die Hard. Oh God, that's from Elf. Oh, Santa Claus movie. Like doesn't that add to the enjoyment of this movie? And before you answer, I'm gonna say, as we're talking about it and having watched this movie twice, I'm loving this more and more as I go. I'm buying this goddamn movie on digital. I'm buying it. Yeah. It's going into my collection.
The answer is yes. And you can reference a film in your film, and that can take away from the experience. I don't know what the magic formula is for we're referencing movies that have been made before us, but this one actually puts it together well. I mean, most of the time when you talk parody, you're talking about a comedy. You're talking about a scary movie, or you're talking about Robin Hood Men in Tights, or a lot of things that Mel Brooks did. And that's okay, because that's what you want to see. Or Airplane, The Big Bus came up on the Fright Lab recently. Just trust me, it was a thing about shark exploitation and CGI sharks, bad ones, in fact. It was great. But it's this one does
don't fall
it
down
well.
that rabbit hole. Oh shit! Okay,
100%.
We get sidetracked a lot, so don't talk shark movies.
There's an episode for that. Trust me. No, but it worked in this case because they reference, but they don't dwell. Maybe that's what makes this work. Is you never get the man behind the curtain winking at you like, yeah, that was Home Alone, right? You liked it, didn't you?
Yep.
Even at the very end, when yes, he wins the fight, but is Santa really going to die? Well, of course not. It's a movie about Santa Claus. He's not going to die. He has magic. Right? When they start going around the corner and somebody actually says, I think, maybe I imagined it. But if we believe, that took me back to Santa Claus the movie. Like the little girl at the end, Santa tries to stop the guy from stealing the money because he's pretending to be a real human again. And just, no, you all have to believe in Santa. And then he wakes back up. It's like, that's what that did for me. Now, you mentioned Elf. The references in this movie, or the parody of this movie, makes it work because it's not trying to be serious, but they let, and I apologize, I don't know his name off the top of my head, but they let the guy act. Even though it's a campy late night movie, they let him
the guy
act.
who played Santa.
Yes.
Oh yeah. David
Yeah, David something.
The Stranger Things guy, Hellboy.
Yeah, right.
The Russian
David
guy
Harbour.
in Black Widow. David Harbour.
Hey. Hellboy is Ron Perlman.
I agree
And
with
also
you.
David Harbour.
I agree
But
with you.
I have not seen the David Harbour version, so I hear it's not good, but
I actually haven't
I
either.
mean,
But I think this
Ron
one
Perlman
works
won't-
because they let it be what
JT,
it
we
was.
got to watch Hellboy for the show.
The newest one?
All of them.
Oh, okay. I've only seen the first one. Whatever the hell, the sequel. I did not see that one in the Ron Perlman universe, and I didn't see the David Hellman's Man.
Yes, Hellboy 2, The Golden Shower. Yes.
That's really gross. That's really gross. Joe, sorry to interrupt you, but one last point. I thought that one of the best things about the movie, you mentioned the Christmas magic a minute ago. I absolutely loved how they didn't try to, and God, I hate to use this example because I don't mind it in Star Wars. They didn't do midichlorians. It was, how does this work? Oh, it's Christmas magic. And Santa goes a couple times, even I don't know how it works. I thought that was absolutely fucking brilliant. That was so incredible. Like, it's like, yeah, it doesn't, and that feeds into the belief. It's like, you don't need to know how it works. It just does. Like, that's the magic of Santa. That's the magic of Christmas. And they explained it so simply by even Santa himself going, I don't know. Like, I loved it. I mean, AJ, I'll start.
Go ahead, John. I'm gonna steamroll over you if you don't give it to AJ first.
Oh, I'm well aware, Joe.
Okay.
Thank you. It's our show. I don't know if you know that. But sorry.
See, Joe, you're on the
I had to
right.
bust your balls.
Okay, that means that you're like added to the show. We're over here on the left, where the important people go. You get that, right?
Oh, snap.
Okay. Anyway.
Oh, I love you, Joe.
No. I love that you put up with this bullshit, Joe. You're so much of a better podcaster, and you have so much smarter things to say than we do.
100% agree.
No, I am right.
Put that
I'm right
quote
there
on
with
my
you on that point,
resume.
though, JT. Like this idea that, like, do we need all the answers? No. Do we have all the answers? We could, but Do you care? No. If I can get like a little bit like between two ferns for a second, it's like it didn't matter. It didn't matter to the story. You didn't need to know how Santa worked. So they didn't bother trying. They're just like, look, Santa works. Whatever needs to happen for the story happens. And we're not going to waste time explaining it.
Yeah.
End of story. Right there. Joe,
Or you already know how Santa works because you've seen these movies before. One of the standout moments in all Christmas films or Santa Claus films, I think there is a distinction to be made, is that line from the Santa Claus where he's going out for the first time and they bring out the elder, I call him the Merlin elf because he's got the giant beard that's being carried by the other two. And he's like, there's so much to do. How could I possibly get it done before sunrise? And dude looks at him and says, think of the night as being without time. It will be until you're done. So from Santa's perspective, he's flying around for a long fucking time. But we don't feel that because it stays night. There was a moment where she says, so how does it work? He goes, I don't even know how it works. Where I'm thinking, as long as this movie doesn't rise the sun, that's my callback to that line from I saw when probably the first time when I was 7 or 8. Like that line of, as long as Santa's not done with his work, it remains nighttime. Like I kept waiting for John Leguizamo to say, why the hell isn't the sun coming up? Like I was waiting for that moment to happen.
Yeah.
And again, that's the Christmas magic, right? You've already seen these movies. We don't need to explain it. If you need it explained, go watch the movies that we're taking into headcanon here when we made this movie.
Yes. I do have a question, Joe. And then we'll get into our closing here. Amazing conversation. So we've all seen Bad Santa. Amazing. One of the best Christmas movies ever. So disappointed in the second one, especially because it had Kathy Bates. Like, oh my God, like any movie with Kathy Bates.
I was so afraid you were going to compliment that movie. Wow.
No.
Okay.
No, I was.
You're very
more credit
forgiving
than that,
of
AJ. Give more credit
sequels,
than that.
So.
Well, AJ, go fuck yourself. But Joe, I have to tell you, we've seen Bad Santa. Okay, so I'm mentioning that first. You have mentioned the Santa Claus movie many times, so I'm going to paraphrase Bad Santa and say, "What is it with you in the fucking Santa Claus movie?" Just like they said in Bad Santa. What is it with you in fucking sandwiches? Like the Santa Claus movie with Tim Allen. I think there's multiple. Oh my God, are they bad?
John,
what the hell is wrong with you?
You have misheard.
Oh.
You have misheard me, and believe me, when I go back and watch this later, because I want to give you guys that view, I may have misquoted myself.
We need to get to double digits, Joe.
What I said was Santa Claus the movie, not the Santa Claus. I mentioned it once or twice because yes, there's a couple references in there, but when I'm talking about Santa Claus the movie, I'm talking about the big one from the 80s, which did the whole Santa Claus is a man who makes toys, who drives around his sleigh with his reindeer, and he becomes Santa because the elves are like, you are a kind person. And we're going to do a long montage of how we build toys, and at some point there's going to be a breakdown of the machinery. What's with that movie? I don't even know why people love that movie as much. I'm a Rankin Bass guy. If I'm sitting down and watching Christmas movies, it's Rankin Bass and Charlie Brown.
I just know that like when you mentioned what movie you're actually talking about, I made a face like, what the hell? And then I look over at AJ's going, huh? Like we both are like, the fuck?
I can't take these guys anywhere. I can't even come on their show.
Oh my God. All right. So
fine.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to give our final thoughts on Joe turning his lights off. We're going to give our final thoughts on the movie. And then Joe, I am going to put you in the green room so AJ and I can close up the show, but please stay on camera. So when we are done, we can talk a little bit after we are done with the show. Because AJ and I have some holiday messages to give to our friends and listeners.
I like the green room.
It's almost
green.
like you did an Irish goodbye last time you were on a stream with me.
Me?
On the Virtual Cantina Network.
Am I guilty of that?
Maybe if we were watching Indiana Jones 5.
What the? Huh? I'm really confused. What's an Irish goodbye?
You just leave. You don't say you're leaving. You just yeah.
Well, dude, I'm trying to be professional here, but as professional as we get anyway.
You're talking about Violent Night, John. How professional can you be?
And I am one of the two hosts of the Nerfherder Council. Professional and Nerfherder Council have never been, those words have never been uttered in the same sentence ever, unless it's the Nerfherder Council. Holy shit, are they not professional? So anyway, all right. So final thoughts on Violent Night. I will go first. As I said earlier, the rewatch that I did, I'm like, okay, this is cooler. And now talking about it with you guys, I'm like, there's a lot of really great stuff here, man. Like, it's a deeper movie than I thought. It sounds stupid to say that this movie is deep, but there's a lot to like unpack. It's like, and there's more to it than, you would think. So if you watch it a few times, you get more and more out of it. And for me, this is going to be on my Christmas playlist. Every year I have to watch A Christmas Story, which no matter what anyone says is the greatest Christmas movie ever made. Anyone says different, in my mind, is wrong. The sequel, Joe, I'm going to dump you, and I'm not even going to let you back in the show. The sequel is awesome. I watched them back to back today while I was working. And it hits all the emotional, stuff like that. Christmas Vacation is probably the single most overrated movie in history. This one for me will be on a rewatch list. I feel like, especially if you're going to go through like a Christmas playlist with family, like, oh, let's watch A Christmas Story. Let's watch the sequel. Let's watch Bad Santa, because that to me is almost a perfect Christmas movie, because Bad Santa is just amazing. And that movie, that's, in fact, AJ, next year we're doing a Bad Santa show, because we have to give love to that movie, because I love how so many people hate it. It's so dark. It's so dark. That's why it's funny, dude. All right. You know what, AJ, you rolled your eyes too many times. All righty, Joe, it's me and you. I've about had it with AJ.
Hey, guess what? I got the power too. I was rolling my eyes at the people who roll their eyes at Bad Santa.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm glad you clarified. So nice dissolve. So anyways, this for me, our audio viewers are going to get all of these references. Yeah. So for me, this is going to be eminently rewatchable, because there's always something extra, and it's just there's more to it than just gore, and it does have some Christmas spirit to it. It wasn't just making fun of Christmas movies. It actually does have the spirit of a Christmas movie. So for me, I'm in. I was pleasantly surprised by this movie, and I think I'm going to enjoy it more and more as time goes on. So moving over on the screen, AJ, you are up next. Final thoughts on Violent Night.
I'm going to piggyback pretty much everything you said there. I was actually surprised at multiple points throughout the movie about how, at some points you're in for the humor. At some points you're in for the gory deaths, because that's just hilarious and awesome. And they take these weird pauses. By the way, the two guys who are on the screen right now are both chugging shit right now, so it's awesome. They're like, hold on a second, he's going solo because we got a drink. Anyway,
that wasn't it. I was trying to give you the oh my Lord.
Anyway, but you took the opportunity to. Anyway, it's my show now. No, you're absolutely right though. The Christmas spirit is alive in this one. Yeah, right. The Christmas spirit is alive in this one, which is a weird thing. Like, every time Santa was in danger, or the kid was in danger, like when he got shot after he beat John Leguizamo, and I don't remember the character's name, and I don't think we need to know the character's name, but like, he's triumphant on the chimney, and then like he gets gut shot a bunch of times. Like, you can't kill Santa.
Joe, bring that guy back up when you get on solo.
Come here.
When you get on solo. All right, AJ, keep going. Sorry. I get distracted by dogs.
I mean, 4 legs over 2 every time.
AJ and I will forever get distracted by dogs.
This movie did the weird thing of being like funny and gory, which was entertaining, and also heartfelt at the same time. Like the fact that I checked all the boxes, I expected to see something that was just going to be a gore fest and just a cheesy B movie. But the fact that I actually like felt something, especially for Santa, like credit to David Harbour, man. You actually gave a crap about what happened to Santa, even though you knew as a jaded ass grown up that it's Santa. It's a cheesy Christmas movie. We shouldn't care. We're just waiting for the blood to flow. And yet they actually like made Santa like a sympathetic character. And so you ended up rooting for him. Like he was the John McClane of the movie. That was the whole template. It was Die Hard, but it was Santa. But you also thought there might be a chance that he doesn't make it out of here. And that part was incredible until they did the whole 11th hour save, because it's Christmas and you got to believe in Santa.
And so quick question. Don't you think that that's like the whole point of this is like, it kind of makes you feel like a kid again? Like the whole basically the whole basis of the movie is believe in Santa. Didn't it make you believe in Santa again? Didn't it make you feel like a kid? Like, yeah, like that's like, the Santa that I want. Like, yeah, that's my Santa. Like, I believe in Santa. Like did it give you that feeling? Cause it gave it to me.
Yeah. Cause how many times was Santa down and out? And I forget the girl's name, but she was like, I believe in you. And
Trudy.
That like fueled him up. And then the fact that
Her
he
name
responded
was
to
Trudy.
her walkie-talkie message.
Yeah.
Sorry, Joe. What was the name?
Trudy.
Yes, that's right. Which I swear to God must absolutely have been a callback, right?
To
what?
80s show?
The 80s sitcom.
Yeah.
With
What the
Mrs.
hell?
Garrett.
Yeah.
Come on, I'm feeding you all the clues here.
Well, I can't remember the name of the damn show, but I know exactly what you're talking about. It's God damn it. It's with Joe and
tongue. Come on.
it is on the tip of my tongue. It's oh God damn
It's
it.
okay. I don't remember it either. That's why I was hoping you had it.
You're not talking about
troll.
Small Wonder, are you?
No, it's with Joe and Blair.
No.
Joe and Blair and Trudy. It's oh man.
Boy, we suck.
Oh my God. That's okay. Anyways. All right.
Anyway, they
done?
picked each other up. Right? Like the girl had to have like
apparently that's called the facts of life.
And facts of life. There we go. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So Trudy rallied Santa. Santa rallied Trudy. Like
Santa, help me.
It was ridiculous and terrible in all the best ways.
Yes.
Like it's a B movie through and through and through.
Mimar's calling us out. You are on the internet. Mimar, you fucking rule, man. I hope you have the best Christmas ever.
Right.
All right. So, Joe, I'm going to put you in solo, but only if you bring somebody else back on camera. I told you to do this.
I mean, if you really want me, you really want to wake this up, John?
Yes. Okay, so for our audio viewers, Joe has his dog there, and if Joe's going to do his final thoughts, we have to have the dog on camera because we are huge dog people. And AJ, can we just talk about? Oh my goodness! Look how cute.
Right.
All right, Joe. Before you, your
as
final
we love
thoughts.
to say.
Oh, she's
no,
asleep. Yeah. Oh, Jack guy. All right. What breed? Because she's asleep.
Good evening. Oh, she's a little beagle Jack Russell mix. She's adorable.
I have a beagle mix in the room with me as we speak.
I'm the one that has to have the dog on camera, and John doesn't have to. I see how it works.
Valley is asleep. Okay. I'm sorry. Love Valley. She is named after Dante Gluefingers Lavelli of the Cleveland Browns, which, by the way, Joe, you haven't said shit about the Browns lately because you are wrong. So there. Now give your final thoughts on the movie, Joe. And your dog is adorable and we love her.
Have you ever been wrong for saying nothing? Really, John? Is that where you're going to stand on this hill?
Look, to quote Borat, eat my crumb. All right. Final thoughts on Violent Night.
Here's
Joseph
the thing
Wren,
about Violent Night.
Joe.
Have you, listener, I'm talking to you. Good evening.
Audio viewer.
You're having a great time listening to this conversation about this very campy and very awesome Christmas-themed horror movie. I have a question. Have you seen every horror movie ever? No? Well, that's good because that's probably not the topic of this show. But have you seen every Christmas movie ever? Yes, probably. I feel like I have. And I enjoy many of them. I enjoy sitting down and watching those traditions happen again. And I didn't think there was going to be something new that I would actually want to watch that was Christmas. Last year, we got A Christmas Story Christmas. That would have been enough. But this movie gave you all of your favorite Christmas time movies in one wonderful package. You have the bad guy. You have the bad family. You have the bad Santa. Somebody's trying to steal money. Somebody's threatening to kill somebody. And Santa has a backstory, and he's back for more. This movie is a gory fun time. If this is not on your Christmas playlist, it needs to be on your Christmas playlist when the kids go to sleep. Because when the kids go to sleep and you start pouring drinks, this is a fun time to have on the TV. John says he's buying it digital. I already ordered the Blu-ray. I'm going to be watching this every year, probably multiple times. I used to watch Bad Santa to be ironic because everybody wants to watch A Christmas Story. Everybody wants to watch Lethal Weapon, even though that's not a Christmas movie. It happens at Christmas, but you know what? It's a fun time. I'm going to let you have it. I feel like I need to watch this now to be ironic because this is a really good time for anybody who has been watching Christmas movies their entire life and says, can I please, this year, can we get something different? I'm not going to give you something different, but I am going to give you something that takes what you love about Christmas movies and packages it a little bit differently, makes a fun, bloody, disgusting time for you and your friends. Enjoy this movie. I enjoy it. John enjoys it. AJ enjoys it. And before I get banned, I need to say that nothing about space whales.
Yeah, let's not. Let's not do that. Well, I don't think we can phrase it any better, AJ. This is, I mean, I think we all agree. This is a very fun, goofy Christmas movie. I think it sits perfectly alongside of a bunch of other Christmas movies you like. It adds to the Christmas movie genre. And it's a blast, man. It's a blast. And it has that Christmas heart, has that Christmas spirit, but it also has a shitload of blood and guts and people dying by candy cane, rusty nail, icicles, and Christmas tree topper stars to the face and their head catching on fire. So, I mean, what more can we say?
Don't take this movie seriously. Have fun with this movie.
Yes, exactly. All right, Joe. So before we boot you to the green room, so AJ and I can do our show close real quick, I believe we need to talk about your shows. So why don't we talk about discography discussion, talk about the Fright Lab. Let's talk about what you got going on, man.
Here's the deal. The Fright Lab podcast. It's a podcast all about horror movies. Lucas and we get together. We watch very strange movies. And some movies you may have heard about. And we take those movies all the way down to where the topics can be very dark, and sometimes there's some real life connotations to that. Lucas talks about horror cinema verite. We talk about Hellraiser. Is Super Deep actually super deep? These are just pieces of what is a fastly growing catalog of horror movie podcasts. So if you want to listen to the Fright Lab, you can find it everywhere you listen to podcasts and at frightlabpodcast.com. Discography discussion, discussmetal.com. That's where you find all the podcasts we are creating about your favorite bands, my favorite bands. We talk about heavy metal topics. Discuss Metal made an appearance at a local off-Broadway venue last week where we got to talk to some of the longest running punk bands in my local town, And that's going to be coming out very soon. John, I hope you approve of what we have going on and what we have coming down the pipeline. I love saying pipeline. It just sounds like gas and can go boom. Like this movie, Violent Night, goes boom into your playlist. FrightLabPodcast.com.
I love it, Joe. Well, dude, Joe, thank you so very much for coming onto the show. Thank you very much for having me on your show many times.
Thanks for coming back on my show, John, to hopefully talk about Alien very soon. Both of you guys, actually. It's not just a John thing. It's an AJ thing, too.
Oh, that movie made me shit my pants as a kid. Holy crap.
Perfect. So I can sign you up,
sorry,
right?
Bro. Joe and I might have discussed that, on a phone call.
Hey, look, you don't got to. That's fine with me. I've got stories about that movie and Aliens. So, yeah, as a little kid, that, like, as our father would say, Joe, that movie chilled my piss. So, yeah. Ooh, God, I'll talk about it all the time.
It did a pile on that vinegar, too.
I tell you what, asshole. As long as we can mention the fact that Alien Isolation is about as close as you could ever get to being in that movie, and that's why I couldn't finish that goddamn game.
Save it. Save it for the show,
John.
Listen, dickhead, that's called a tease. Anyways,
can we get a video of that?
Of what, my piss being chilled? No.
Playing Isolation, please. In fact, let me isolate myself for a moment.
No, I got well played. All right, guys. So he is Joseph Wren, discography discussion, the Fright Lab. Joe, as always, man, you are an amazing friend. You have fixed my internet more times than I can count, but you are a gentleman and a scholar. We appreciate you coming on, man, and we'll see you real soon.
Thanks for having me. I'm gonna go hide in the green room.
Ooh. All right, brother. So there he goes. Our very good friend, Joseph Wren. Obviously, we got a few thoughts to give here at the end of the year. This is our last show of 2023. Yet another year of the Nerfherder Council.
Yes. I will say our last scheduled show. Okay. I feel like I'm going to be very bored because I am taking the next week off of work, and there's a lot of time between now and 2024. So if okay,
this is great for the audio viewers.
If you want to see maybe this Lego set get more progress done on it,
for audio viewers, he's talking. He's talking about the Raiders of the Lost Ark Lego set. So you're going to be doing a build.
I want to make more progress on that. That sounds like a good use of my time off. Doesn't it sound like that to you, JT?
I think it is. I think it is a great use of your time.
And now that we're going to call this up here, Joe is in the comments now with Lego battle, and Mimar says yes. Apparently, I'm going to battle Mimar in some sort of Lego building competition. So stay tuned for that. I don't know what that's going to be, but we're going to figure it out.
How the hell do you
we're going to put it on
Legos?
Patreon first when we know what that is.
You mentioned Patreon, AJ. I mean, do we have one of those?
We do. It is patreon.com/NHC podcast. Shortly before we went on live with the stream tonight, actually, as promised on the last show, the announcement of the Chewy's Family t-shirt went live on Patreon with the link to the t-shirt design itself. So if you want the first best goss, the hot goss on NHC podcast on the Nerfherder Council, go to patreon.com/NHC podcast. We will put most of our announcements there. You can also subscribe to us on Patreon and get a shout out on this channel. The guy who was just on here, actually, Joseph Wren, $3 level, he gets a shout out, of course. And he also gets early audio instead of Sundays. He gets it on Fridays. And we also have a $1, which doesn't get you a shout out because we don't like you that much, but you do get the early audio. So if you want early audio, just pay us $1 a month. $1 a month gets you your audio version of this podcast 2 days early. If you want to shout out on the air, like Mark Thrasher, who is a $3 Patreon, and Joseph Wren, thank you for coming on the show tonight, $3 Patreon. There you go. We've got plenty more reward tiers in mind and plenty more shows in mind. We just want to know that people want to see and pay for that stuff because this thing is not actually free for us to make. So we just want to make our money back so we're not losing our asses on this whole thing. That's all we want to do with Patreon. We don't want to be famous. We don't want to be like million subscribers. No silver button on YouTube. We just want to make sure that we can keep bringing this to you without having to go into hock for it. So if you got a couple bucks a month, 'tis the season. Subscribe to Patreon, patreon.com/NHC podcast. You'll get your name on here. You'll get your early audio, and you'll also have a voice in what we do in future shows.
I have to admit, I have some ideas. Like I am, full disclosure, guys. The whole Patreon thing is a beautiful thing. I'm actually a Patreon subscriber to Chris Mock's amazing podcast, Mocktails from the Cantina. Me, myself, I don't know what I would be able to provide for Patreon. So that's why AJ's handling it. But I actually, AJ, I have a couple ideas of things that I could do for Patreon. So I'm trying to work out how it would be something I could do in perpetuity. And real quick, before we get out of here, Discuss Metal Joe. Joseph Wren says, correction, AJ, you're going to lose at Lego building. And Mimar says it's going to be a speed build. So there you go. There you go.
Yeah,
all right.
Mimar, I don't like to build sober. You need to, you just need to be more accepting of those of us who like to build freely.
Maybe Mimar comes on and like drinks
Freely.
with us. Nice. All right. So before we get out, jeez, oh, Pete's. Wow. All right.
Look,
tie one on, brother.
It was green. It was festive. It's what I had to do.
Look, I really can't comment because 2 nights from now on my music podcast, Talking Into Infinity, we have once a year we do what we call the fan hangout episode, and we get actually fans and viewers on to co-host with us. And my dumbass eat my ass. So
no, legit, I sneezed for no reason.
Shut up. So my dumbass co-host mentioned something called a gorilla fart. It was like 2 years ago or something. It was the first year of the podcast. And I thought he said, this song is like a gorilla fart. And I thought he was saying it's a song that sucks. And he's like, no, the drink. And it's a shot. It's Jägermeister 151 and whiskey. And I said, you know what? That sounds so horrible. I'm going to drink that on air for the fan hangout. Well, this is year 3 of the fan hangout, and I get to drink that horrific crap Friday night. So yeah, and the best part is, dude, like, you know, like you do a shot, like you kind of have the shot face, like, you know, a little bit of, like, I can't even hide how bad it is. If you go back and watch the videos of the 2 fan hangouts we've done, it like, you can tell in my face, it's like, this is the most heinous shit you've ever put in your mouth. Like, hey, AJ, okay, I'm gonna solo myself here. That sounds really, really bad.
That's one for the audio viewers right there.
Yes, there we go. So literally, AJ, in my face, I drink. It goes like this, like, oh, it's like intolerable bad, so bad. But
well, I can lead on another liqueur since you're into the Jägermeister, and I just drank Chartreuse from France. The herbal liqueurs are big in Europe. There's one called Malort, which is big in Chicago.
We're not.
Yeah, I hear it's terrible. I just bought a bottle of it.
Oh, Jesus.
We'll try it soon.
No, you know when you're going to try it? And then we'll get out of here. You're bringing it to Cincinnati next week. AJ and I are driving to Cincinnati. It's a 3.5 hour drive. We are going to Cincinnati next Friday to watch the Cincinnati Philharmonic play the score for The Last Jedi while the movie plays on the screen. This is the 3rd year in a row we've done it. The first year was Return of the Jedi. Last year, obviously, was The Force Awakens. This year is the brilliant The Last Jedi. You are bringing Malort, and we are drinking goddamn Malort, and we will find a way to do an impromptu live drinking of Malort. So there we go. Now,
we do have a Twitter page, so maybe we'll put it on there. You can go live on Twitter. So
we can go live anywhere. Yes. All right. So before we get out of here, man, because we got to talk to Joe off air. Guys, first of all, would love each and every one of you guys. This has been an amazing journey for AJ and I. Like, this is literally our first. We are just, days away we're a few days after actually our 8th or 9th year anniversary with the show. We did our first episode, which was a reaction to The Force Awakens back in 2015. And here we are all these years later, still here. And, we do it specifically because AJ and I love to hang out. It's literally an excuse for me and my brother to hang out. But with my buddy Steve, like I'm Steve's, daughter's godfather. He was an incredible friend of ours. It's just crazy to be here this long, and you guys keep us going because all you people in the chat that just like jump in and everything, Joseph Wren, Mimar, all these crazy people, Kale McLeish, all you guys, like we have such a blast hanging out with you guys. So from me, I'll let AJ speak for himself before we get to our close here, but I love you guys and I appreciate you guys so very much for tuning into this nerdy, goofy bullshit. I love you guys. Happy holidays and a very, 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 very happy new year. AJ, your turn.
Yeah, dude, it is unbelievable that we've been at this for coming up next year. When we do this next year, this time, it's going to be a decade. Isn't it crazy to think like we'll have done 9 complete years and we're like chiming into 10 years on this show. We are so immature. It's unbelievable that we just refuse to grow up. And it's not like a proud thing. It's just like we're just stunted, apparently.
No, I'm proud.
Exactly. Like, look at our stupid asses. You got a Pantera t-shirt on and a Santa hat. I got a Star Wars Santa hat and a bunch of angry ass gingerbread that none of them are happy because they all realize like what happened to them. Like it's just progressive stages of unhappiness and pissed off. The cynicism just grows as the years go on, but it's more and more fun because pop math question for you. How many fucks do we give?
I believe the answer is 0.
Correct. You know what? Be comfortable in your own skin. And this show is a highlight of my week every time it comes around. And the reason we're trying to expand and do more shows and how can we do like this and that is because we have so much fun with it. And it's because we've got you guys in the crowd doing it live with us, feeding us ideas. We can build relationships and everything. It's so much fun. So here's to 2024. Here's to the end of 2023. It's been a great year so far. We're going to cap it off with some good times. And next year is going to be even better because there isn't any reason you can possibly tell me to not have more fun than we're already having.
100%.
Have a great wrap to your year and stay tuned.
100% agreed, man. And one last big thank you to the Virtual Cantina Network. AJ and I, literally, we just do this to hang out, and they were gracious enough to ask us to join the network. And I hope that those of you that are tuned in, either live or on the YouTube feed, or if you go look up the audio version of the show, we hope you guys are having a blast with it. We cannot thank Spencer and John Chiato and Dave and all those guys, Mark. Like, we can't thank them enough for having us onto the network. It's, something we never thought would happen. It was just our little show, and now they've made it kind of, part of their big ass network. So much love to them and so much appreciation. So with that, guys, happy holidays. It was great to see you guys again. We will see you in 2024. Kind of crazy to say. What the hell's the date going to be, AJ? I always forget to look this up, but I believe, if I am not wrong, the next date will be Wednesday, January 3rd. So we'll be right back at these locations on Facebook and YouTube of not only the Nerfherder Council, but also the Virtual Cantina Network, as well as our Twitch page. We will be at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on those 5. Why am I so bad at the goddamn outro? I'm gonna reset.
You're better than I am. I suck at this stuff.
Christ sakes. It's you know what? It's just in my head. So I'm gonna start over. Guys, we appreciate you. We will see you on Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024, on the Facebook and YouTube pages, channels, whatever you want to call it, of the Virtual Cantina Network and the Nerfherder Council, as well as the Nerfherder Council's Twitch page. And don't forget, guys, you've got to go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com to get that Chewbacca's family t-shirt. It looks amazing. It is hilarious. And you can get any number of customizable Nerfherder Council items at that location. Our audio viewers are going to love this. But for those of you watching live or watching on the replay, here is the Chewbacca's Family t-shirt. It is on sale right now for $16. It is the funniest damn thing you will ever see, at least for the next like 6, 7, 8 days or something. But anyways, so if you want some customizable Nerfherder console swag, go to shop.nerfherderconsole.com. If you would like to pick up some virtual Cantina Network swag, go to tpublic.com/user/virtual-cantina. And you can get their stuff there. If you are watching on YouTube, click that like button, click that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that you are notified every time we go live. And as always, we are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. Guys, wishing you, all of you, the most incredible Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate, the happiest of holidays. God's blessings to you and your family and friends. Man, we will see you in 2024. So one last time in 2023, I'm your host, JT, at Dog Pound Jedi. He is AJ.
At Drake Adams 579.
Guys, we will see you next year.